There we go. Right. Thank you, Stephanie. Well, welcome everyone to this is really sort of like the October/November budget audit committee meeting of Thursday, November 7th. And I don't think we have to call the roll.
Visual roll call.
Visual roll call. We're here. And thank you all for being here as well. Is there any public comment on non-agenda items today? Ian, go ahead.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
In the state of California, many cities and counties continually violate the Americans with Disabilities Act, making it impossible to access public services. Public safety in Clayton has become a joke, as ignoring maintenance of sidewalks and streets makes it increasingly dangerous for mobility challenged residents like me to exercise basic civil rights. I have been battling Clayton's illegal governance for the last 20 years. ADA case DOT 2020-0141. Instead of complying with DOT requests for a resolution, Clayton chooses to support those who create a hostile living environment through harassment, isolation, and bullying at 1553 Haviland Place. Intimidation tactics like recent de facto voter suppression don't work on me, just stiffen my resolve. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Anybody else? Public comment on agenda items? Nope. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3.
Can I say something?
Of course.
So, nothing related to your comment, but going forward, special meetings don't require public comment on non-agenda items, so we should strike that from all special meetings. For all agendas, for all special meetings.
Okay, we'll talk later.
Okay, item number 3, discussion of RFPs in the public purchase portal. Assistant
Yes.
City Manager Regina Rubier, please.
So we had 4 RFPs recently out. One was for investment management and advisory services. One was for the on-call community development and code enforcement services. One was for the finance and human resources services. And one was an invitation for bid for the utility transport and search and rescue vehicle. So the investment management services RFP received no bids. So we will continue to follow the city's purchasing policy and work with UBS on what we discussed at the September 10th meeting, budget and audit committee meeting. James Dill and I met yesterday and we went over both of your questions that you had at that meeting, and James is preparing a presentation for a future meeting, hopefully in December.
Okay, so a question around that. So to continue as is or to transition to managed services?
To transition to
Okay,
the management services that we talked about at the September 10th meeting.
okay. And he'll do the presentation at which meeting?
We're hoping the December 19th meeting,
December 19th,
Second meeting.
the second
Second
meeting,
meeting.
yes.
whichever date that is, 17th, 19th, yeah,
It is the 17th.
17th, right? Staff, anything?
So can we clarify for the original proposal at 20 basis points
Mhm.
at our calculated volume or
Mhm.
magnitude? I think that works out to like
24,000.
24,000.
Mhm.
So at that rate, an RFP isn't required, correct?
Not
Correct.
an official RFP.
Okay.
Bids, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so given that we've done that, even though I think it is underneath the threshold, I do still think it's important as a council to hear the presentation, so I think
Agreed.
that's a good
Mhm.
Yeah,
course of action, but I want to be really clear that what the questions that we had were not complex, and we weren't like seeking other proposals. We were really looking for clarity
Mhm.
and that actual presentation, so hopefully Mr. Dill is able to do that.
Yes,
And what we've done is referenced with him the questions and concerns from that original meeting, so that he can address those when he comes back in December.
Okay,
Sounds good.
okay. And then the next one.
I have a
Oh,
question. This is the first that I've heard of a transport, search and rescue vehicle. What budget was that in?
Well, we're not.
We're not
we're not there yet.
we're not there
Oh,
yet.
should I-
Yeah, we're still doing UBS.
And as a member of the public,
Yes.
you can have comment when we're.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So item 3B is the on-call community development and code enforcement services. We received 3 bids on that. One was from Urban 37, one was from CSG, and the third one was from Four Leaf. The city manager and I are evaluating those proposals. And depending on how we move forward, if we do an staff augmentation or if we look into staffing the staff, the community development staff through contractual work. So we're working through that.
and just one thing on that, is that community development and code enforcement? It could be or.
It is definitely or,
Or.
and we wrote the RFP so that firm 1 could do the community development and firm 2 could do the code enforcement.
Right.
Or if we like one firm for both, they could do both.
Got it. Were you ready to say something?
No.
No, okay.
Okay,
Go ahead,
item
Regina.
3C is the Finance and Human Resources Services. As we know, when Adam was here, he brought on much more than consulting to come and do this type of work as the bridge to get staff on board. We've exceeded that term of the $30,000. So we went out for an RFP for that service, and there was only one response, and that was much more. And at this point, we're based on what happens this afternoon. I think it might be our recommendation to put that RFP on hold at
Okay.
this point.
And Elsie's last day was October
October
31st.
31st,
Okay.
correct.
Who was our much more than consulting employee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tim.
Item 3D, the utility transport and search and rescue vehicle with related accessories is part of the Shish Gap grant, the
Mhm.
state homeland security grant. That is, it's actually a FEMA grant that's then transferred over to Cal OES, which is then transferred over to Contra Costa Sheriff's Office. And we have to work very, very closely with the sheriff's office on the bid, on the whole procurement process. And the sheriff's office just this morning gave us the okay to move forward, that we have satisfied the bid requirements. We have satisfied all the procurement rules. The vendor that we have selected is in the SAM government portal. You have to be registered federal vendor. And so we are ready to go and move forward with that. There's $0 out of City of Clayton's pocket for this utility vehicle that will help our police department if they have to go and make a rescue on the trails program.
Excellent. And this was like around 65,000?
65,000,
Yeah,
correct.
excellent. Okay,
So
great.
this is 100. There's
It
no
is-
support here in the doc for this.
Right,
item.
this is 100%, this was already approved by council quite a while
Yeah.
ago. And this is just an update
Yeah.
on that we are able to move forward.
Correct.
When,
When,
what, no, sorry,
Okay.
what is like, can you give like a 1 sentence description of this vehicle?
a side-by-side off-road vehicle,
Okay, where's it gonna be kept?
The maintenance yard.
So the purchase of the vehicle is covered by the grant, but the ongoing maintenance, what's the projection of that?
that I don't think has been discussed. I believe that a trailer is coming with this vehicle,
So you can drive it.
so you can go
Okay.
to places.
Okay,
Okay.
is that the only updates you had?
Those are the only updates on the RFPs.
Did you have a question?
I do. So it's not a pickup truck, it's a side by side?
It is a side-by-side, it's an off-road vehicle.
Kind of like
Like
an
a-
ATV.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. It's a big ATV,
Quad.
So they're gonna put, it's 100% paid for.
correct?
So they're not gonna put lights on top,
That's all part of the grant, yes.
they're gonna put a radio in it
I don't know about the radio.
with the
Believe so.
MDG? I mean.
I don't know that it's
I
gonna
don't think
require
I'll-
the MDT.
Probably not the computer, but
Mhm.
communications, yes.
All right, I just have never heard of 100% funded, usually the city has to put in the.
Yeah.
Wait, but that's great.
This is state homeland security grant.
Okay, excellent. Alrighty, item number 4, adopt a resolution authorizing revisions to the full-time administrative assistant classification, addition of full-time classifications for senior management, analyst, senior planner, recreation coordinator, part-time classification of rec leader, and related specs. I don't have to read the whole thing.
So I would just,
Oh.
before we start, I would say, I think that you phrased this in a way that it would be lifted onto the actual city council
Yeah.
agenda. But we shouldn't do that,
Yeah.
because we as a subcommittee are not. We are not charged with or empowered
I
to adopt.
I
understand.
thought the same thing, yeah.
Mhm.
So this should be like. just
Oh, the
us.
adopt, yeah,
Mhm.
that first
Yeah.
one, yeah, you're right.
And even the rest of the document is as if you were addressing the council
Mhm.
Yeah.
rather than the committee, so,
I don't want to give the impression that we are
Sure.
taking action on behalf of the council.
right.
Got it.
Okay, so
If we
we,
could actually update the agenda so that if future people are pulling down the agenda, when they look at it, they can, I don't know if we're allowed to update the agenda.
I will double check.
But,
Okay.
I don't want that to give that
Mhm.
impression in the future, if you look at this a year from now.
If we're not able to do that, we will reflect it in the minutes, though, that
Sure.
Okay.
request, and to make that distinction
Or a
between the two,
supplement.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, I thought the same thing. So are you going to pull something up, on the screen that any of the
can.
attachments? Like the staff recommendation and go through these position
Mhm.
by position? So I think we do have, or I do have a number of questions. And maybe even, can you give us, it would be nice to give us a little background, like what's precipitated this and why we're doing this and why we're adding these positions and what's budgeted, what's not budgeted, your recommendation for salary levels. Kind of walk us through the analysis that you did, because that's where most of my questions are.
Okay,
Can I make the recommendation?
And work.
I would not read through the whole thing, because you and I have both read it, so I would summarize very briefly on what the purpose is, because again, it's phrased in a way that it's seeking approval,
Mhm.
but I don't think that's what you're doing.
No,
No.
we're looking
So-
for.
Well, I didn't
Yes,
ask her to
we're-
read through it. I asked her to bring it up and then to give us a summary, like what precipitated this
Okay,
and why are they recommending
Yeah.
this? Yeah, not
Okay.
to read.
right.
But I do think for a reference point, if we're able to, I don't know if you're able to
The only thing that I
share
have,
screen.
council member Tripiano, is the staff report.
Okay,
The
Be-
package.
be a good starting point, right?
Mhm.
Reference point. But give us some of the background. What precipitated this? Why are you recommending these positions? Some are budgeted, some are not. And how the math all works out as it impacts our budget this year and
Mhm.
next. And if you're not able to share screen,
I'm trying to figure this out.
I don't know if we need to, well,
No, that
no,
one
that's
needs to
not
be
gonna.
on.
So what we are asking for are 4 full-time positions, 1 part-time position. One is for the administrative assistant position, which was budgeted in this current fiscal year.
And we currently have a temp.
And we currently have, is currently supported with a temporary person. We are looking at the possibility of bringing on a full-time recreation coordinator to help with all of the special events. We are looking at bringing on a management analyst. That was discussed in the budgeting process, but it was in the org chart, but we did not fund it in the budget.
Placeholder.
Yeah, it was a placeholder there for Chris to come on board, determine what type of staffing is needed
Mhm.
for this city. So it was a placeholder there and it was not budgeted. And then we are looking at bringing on a senior planner. We have 2 positions currently budgeted for the community development department. As Chris and I have gotten our feet about us throughout the city in the last few months, we are determining that we don't necessarily need 2 full-time people in the planning department, that we're just needing the 1 person in the planning department. And then we have a part-time recreation leader. It's currently in this budget, and this position will go and help open and close event halls, whether it's Endeavor Hall, Hoyer Hall. They'll help facilitate park rentals, those types of things.
Mhm.
We've done a class and comp study on all 5 of these positions. We've used the same agencies that the Police Officers Association used.
Who's that?
Let me,
If you have to.
yeah,
It's the city of Dublin, East Bay Regional Park,
Oh, the
Hercules.
cities. I thought you said an
Lafayette, Martinez,
agency that the POA
No,
uses.
no, no.
Got it. Yeah, got it.
No, it's just
Got it, got
comparing.
it.
the same agencies that the
Yeah.
Police Officer
Got it.
Association uses.
Mhm.
We went, we took the high and the low, we came up with an average, and we went with the median salaries. We have a 5% salary adjustment in between the 5 steps that the city offers, and that's how we came up with the recommendations for these salary positions.
Okay.
A little bit of background, I'll talk about this, the senior planner that we are proposing. As you know, we have been using a contract planning services company. I have been here for 2 months. I'm on my 3rd director.
Not contract planning, community development, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
They're doing both
got it.
jobs.
Got it.
They're doing both jobs. It is not working well. We are struggling. We are falling behind on some significant projects. We have had some difficulties with typical planning duties like plan reviews. There are some definite challenges. There's no guarantee that even moving companies, we get stability in that position, which is just going to further hinder what we're trying to accomplish, both for our community members and our developers. One of the things that we looked at is we understand that there's no need for a director and a planner. There's not enough work to support that.
Right.
So kind of combining both of those into a senior position, a senior planner, 1 step below a director or a manager. For the work that we need to accomplish, we can do that. And then if there's ever a time that there's a need to augment because of a large project, because of general plan update and review, we can always look at augmenting with a contractor to help with those services if needed, but we'll address those one-off as they come about. But this provides us stability with a full-time person, whereas with our contract person, they're here 16 hours a week versus 40 hours a week. So those are some of the complications that we've seen over the last couple months, and this is not a shock to either of you. We've had these discussions of what our challenges have been with that position specifically. The recreation coordinator position, as mentioned, to help with the events, the concerts, car shows, all of those things. And if there's a desire to expand, to have that person available to do that, but also being that central person for all of our park and facility rentals. Right now, it's kind of a catch can. Stephanie's doing that as an ancillary duty. We have spoken on the weekend, that is not going well. Things are slipping, and so having dedicated staff and having that part-time staff to go out and actually facilitate those rentals. Because right now what we're doing is we're burdening our maintenance staff. We're paying them overtime to come back on a Saturday to open the building, when we can just have part-time staff, and which is typical practice of other agencies, is having part-time staff to take care of those rentals, can be available on days when we have events and activities that they can assist. So
And we did have somebody doing that, for years, if I understand, right? But that person is no longer in our employment, correct? So
She only will handle Endeavor Hall.
only Endeavor,
And,
okay,
and for the longest time, she wasn't even available to help with that.
right,
So
okay.
I'm trying to streamline and kind of make it a little more efficient,
Mhm.
and make sure that, you know, one of my big priorities is when people come and they, whether it's renting Endeavor Hall, that they get what they want. They get what they pay for, they get what they expected, and that's not happening at this level because again, they're ancillary duties at the maintenance level and at the coordination level, and we have to fine tune of how we're gonna operate that so that we are efficient and effective. And then the management analyst is, you know, as roles changed when the interim city manager was here, you know, talking about having that management analyst person. I always refer to that as the Swiss Army knife that can back up Regina, back up Stephanie. We have nobody to look at grant opportunities, and if we were to achieve and be successful in a grant application and award, there's not staff to do the reporting, the financials, all of the things that need to be done.
Which
So
is
that-
often more work than, yeah,
Absolutely.
applying for the
absolutely.
grant,
And so
yeah.
having somebody that can, as part of their regular duties, do that, but also take on the role of our HR piece. We don't have a designated HR staff person when we're talking about.
And I thought that
It's-
was Regina
it
doing
is.
the HR, yeah,
It is,
Yeah.
from a management perspective, from the high level
right.
stuff, but if a new employee that needs to fill out their insurance information.
Right.
Mhm.
So, and that person, again, you know, other agencies have an analyst in HR that just does HR. This is somebody, again, just like most of our employees that are gonna have 1, 2, 3 assignments to help and cover in different and various areas.
Okay.
I mean, we just don't have, we don't have the finances and we don't have the need to have full-time people in singular job categories. So
Right.
that's why we have this, I call it the umbrella effect, right? You gotta kind of cover everything with a smaller staff.
Okay. I have a number of questions, but do you want to start? Okay. And sorry that, you know, normally I might try to send these to you ahead of time. It just was one of those days where it wasn't happening. So the administrative assistant classification, and this is a reference piece from our June 4th budget meeting. When we approved the budget, it was called office assistant. And the range on that at that time was, and I've got it here in my notes, 55 to 66,000 a year.
Okay,
And so I think one thing I want to just say generally, I understand the cities that you use as a comparative analysis. But I think we really have to look at workload. And so, you know, to put like a Dublin in there versus a Clayton, you know, we're more like an Orinda or a Moraga or a smaller city. And
Mhm.
so now the range is 70,000 to 85 something, 87.
What was it before?
It was
The
55.
office assistant,
Yeah.
is different than the administrative assistant.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you.
Mhm.
Has the job description in that
We-
position changed?
55 to what?
66. And cities like Moraga are at 62 when you use the analysis. Lafayette at 60, Moraga at 62, Orinda at 62. So I just thought, why are we going in so much higher?
We had two positions in the budget, and one was the office assistant and one was the administrative assistant. And where we came in
I
with
don't
this,
see the administrative assistant. I just pulled it from June 4th. Because I don't see the rec leader either in there.
yeah, this is
That was part
not,
of our budget.
this is not correct.
Okay. So
That's what
June,
was, that's
Yeah.
this table that we approved.
Okay,
in the June 4th budget
Okay.
meeting. So maybe we need an updated
Well,
table.
no, I mean, we can't
Or,
update
yeah.
the table. The tables all have to be approved.
well, that's what we're asking
Well,
for
sure.
here is to update this.
But what I'm saying is, when you're saying that it's not correct, that there's no rec leader, I would disagree. Because it is, because that's what we approved. So there is no rec leader.
Mhm.
So with the status quo is it doesn't exist. If we want to add it, we can do that, but.
So
the
that's,
baseline is.
that's what we're adding here are the administrative assistant and the recreation leader. We did not add it here, but we did put the money in the budget to cover it.
Okay, and
Okay,
that I couldn't find.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's, I looked
Mhm.
and then I was like, well, maybe it should be on this table and then it's not on this table. So, and the salaries, when I looked at the budget, it's like kind of one number.
Mhm.
And so I see it in your analysis, but I
Mhm.
didn't see it in that budget. And so is the job description for administrative assistant different than this office assistant
Yes,
position?
because they were
Cause
two
this is
different,
kind of like 70 to
Well, what's the
87,000,
difference?
yeah.
there's two different positions. There's the administrative assistant, which is a high level. It's to help back up Stephanie. The office assistant is a very entry level part-time receptionist position. The office assistant is what, and I'm sorry, because I wasn't here, it was the part-time position that I believe Gonzalo was doing.
So are we killing that position?
Yes,
Okay,
He also was the code enforcement person. He
He
did two
was.
jobs.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
that represents a 28% increase. That's fairly significant, I would say. So I don't know if it's, I'm not commenting on whether or not that's like a good number. I just, it strikes me as it's a significant increase, so I don't know.
and also when the
That's supportable.
Lafayette is 60, Moraga's 62, Orinda's 62, you use those as a comparison.
Mhm.
Why would we be even much higher than that?
Because it's an average of the comparable, one of the issues when you get into looking at job descriptions and salary
Right.
ranges. Is what cities you're comping jobs to. So last year when you did the POA and did the contract, these were the cities that were the comparables. You can't just pick and choose depending on the job. Cities typically will adopt, these are our cities.
Okay,
For specific reasons, like you're talking about, and you're right on track.
Right.
The size, budget, staff number, all of those
Population,
kinds
yeah.
of things that kind of fit in. But we've established kind of this, last year, we just did it this way. So that's why it was done this way.
yeah, I would say that when we looked at the POA. It wasn't necessarily to say that we are pegging ourselves to those cities. It was a data point that gave us like a reference point.
Mhm.
And then we independently made the decision to say. That. We felt that we were too low, and so we wanted to move up. We didn't really know how much we wanted to move up, so we used those references as a data point. But it wasn't a pegging. And then I would also say pegging to the POA, even if that were the case. I wouldn't take the same approach for the non-POA staff.
It's
I think
workload,
For
they
clarification,
they're different.
Okay.
workload.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask you the question.
Yes.
Because you're talking about something that is wrong. It's
So-
not correct.
So that being said, I know that these are just ranges. But. And I can't really point to a lot of evidence, but they feel high. So I don't know what there's to do about that at this point, but they do seem like not an apropos
Well, and
comparison.
workload, that's what I was
Yes.
thinking. It should be more based on workload, not on averages. And so I'm thinking our workload is probably similar to an Orinda or a Moraga or a Lafayette. Based on,
I don't think that's a fair analysis to say workload because none of us at this table know what their workload is. Now, if you wanna hinge it to population, size of community,
Right.
budget, yes.
Right.
Those are objective criteria.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely, but to say workload. I don't know
Well, I
what the
think
admin
based on
assistant does.
population, based on,
Yep.
that's what I'm saying. And I think some of the others are, I don't know, it's an unfair comparison, I think, but.
When these are done, what we do is we look at the job description.
Mhm.
And we have to make sure that at least 80% of that job description compares to what our job description is. And that's how they are considered comparable agencies. If you look at some of the other positions that we have here, you will see that not all agencies are listed because they don't have comparable positions.
Okay, it just feels very
Mhm.
high to me. I'm not gonna, so that was,
Yeah,
one
I guess
thing,
as
yeah.
another reference, I think from the highest to the lowest on the upper end on these comparables, there's like a 24% delta.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So clearly, there's opportunity to kind of stake your own land on where you think it should fall. And I think we need to base it on something. I don't know what it is, but it makes sense to base it on something objective, but it's not controlling. It's really a data point. Like, we could
Yeah,
say, we
no,
wanna base it
absolutely.
on, we wanna do our comparables based on, let's say, population. But whatever that happens to yield, it doesn't mean that's what we have to pick. We can pick something else if,
Mhm.
if we so choose, but then it's a balance between, can you acquire talent at that rate, right? So,
And then your recommendation for this position is what? What is the salary? Are we talking about the range today? Or are we talking about, because you've obviously budgeted an amount, correct?
Right, and the amount that we budgeted for the administrative assistant position falls within this range.
Which is,
Um, we budgeted approximately $77,000 for this budget, for this position, and the range is in step A is 70,560 with a high of
to
87,305.
87, yeah. But so you're
And so,
recommending $77,000.
that's what we have
That's what was
budgeted for.
Budgeted. Oh, that's what you're saying.
It's
that
already in the
It's in the
budget.
budget.
Budgeted
It's
for.
already in the budget,
Okay,
yes.
and that's why all right, I looked, I couldn't find it anywhere yesterday, so. I might have to go back and look again. At the budget, because again, I brought up this table.
Yeah, right. Those were the positions that were available at the time the budget was put into place. But there were dollars in the budget that we also included for for
These
exactly
positions.
what we're doing right now.
So I could find 77,000 somewhere in that budget that we approved.
You
No.
won't find
Okay,
it
that's why,
there.
Singular.
It's in the spreadsheets that I was using
right,
behind the scenes to create that spreadsheet that we were working from.
And the recommendation for me moving forward with the budget process is delineating the positions and the accounting associated with positions as part of the budget.
well, I mean, you
So
have
that-
that already, it's just the supporting schedules, right?
Right, but
That's
what I'm
exactly
saying
what I'm
is,
talking about.
yes, but to make that part of the public process.
Yeah.
And so that document is searchable, let's put it that way.
Okay.
okay. And then for the senior management analyst position. I just wanted to understand what and I looked at the job description. How it would be different than what you're doing as our assistant city manager. Is it supportive to your position?
It's very supportive to my position. It's gonna do several things. It's not only gonna support me, it will support Chris. It will support Jennifer when she's on vacation. This person will have that skill set to help with the accounting, with
Okay.
payroll. since I've been here, Jennifer has done payroll twice while she's on vacation.
Right,
And,
Okay.
and that's not fair to an employee.
right,
It will help Stephanie in if she needs some clerking, some high level clerking abilities. This person will be able to do all of those things. They will be responsible for contract management. They will be a very supportive role in the HR realm.
okay,
I will still handle the majority of HR, but
okay,
the more simple, the more daily task type things, just pushing
Day to
workers'
day.
comp paperwork through. Do you really want to be paying me my wages to be doing that? No.
right,
So that's what this position will be.
okay. And do you have any questions about that position?
No, I was still on the administrative assistant.
Oh, okay, well, go ahead, go.
I mean,
We'll go
again, the
through
reason
these,
why I think it's high, I guess, because like on the requirements. It's a high school degree and 1 year of work experience, and they're topping out at 87,000. That's seems pretty high. That's why I mean, I don't have anything to base it on, so I have no objective criteria.
Well,
But
and frankly, that's why we're here, is to have that discussion, and
Right.
if you guys are.
I think,
It's
yeah,
what-
Then
Yeah,
we can talk about
And you're
what you
recommending- yeah.
feel a range is appropriate. And, yeah,
I think, okay, so I have some comments at the end, like general stuff, but you have other specific.
yeah, on several of the other positions, so do you wanna, we'll go through the positions, okay. So, and we'll circle back on that. So the recreation coordinator, which sounds like, when I look at the duties, should really, is almost like a special, I think we were calling it a special event manager at one
Mhm.
point.
Mhm.
And now it's not a manager, it's a coordinator, but the hourly position is the leader. I think that's a little bit confusing to call the coordinator. Anyway, that's just one of my takes. But so I didn't see, so, and I don't want to get into the org chart yet because I do have some questions. But let me ask you this, would the leader, which is the hourly position,
Mhm.
is not reporting to the coordinator?
It is,
It's not on the org chart, okay. Yeah,
okay.
or I think in somewhere in your description, you
It
said
was,
that
there
the
is,
leader's gonna report
there's,
to the clerk.
I caught that yesterday evening.
Okay.
And it's
That's
missing
why I
a
got
comma.
confused.
There's, yeah,
So the coordinator, which is kind of like, I'm gonna just say the special event
yeah. Mhm.
manager, is reporting to,
Probably the management analyst is who that person would
so the
report to.
management analyst who does contracts, HR,
Mhm.
and workers' comp
Yeah,
and accounting.
because there's going to be a lot of contracts with that events coordinator. With the management of the concerts in the Grove, with the management of the different facilities. With the collection of funds from the facilities. There's a lot of financial
Insurance.
pieces, insurance requirements. There's a lot of financial pieces involved with that.
Okay, and is there any reason we're calling that a coordinator? Because
'Cause that's what you're-
again, the salary range is $75,000 to $91,000.
Mhm.
And your recommendation on this position, oh, and just going back to senior management analyst. Your recommendation on salary was, can you just give that to me directly? Do you have that?
Yeah.
By position? I know the range is 123 to 150.
Mhm.
128 to 158.
128 to 150. And your recommendation for that,
That is the recommendation, is.
just the range?
That's the
Okay.
range, and then there's
What
all
did you
5
put?
steps.
Go ahead,
I was gonna say, you're talking about analyst?
just going back to management
Got it.
analyst.
I just wanted to make
senior
sure,
management, yeah.
okay.
So,
So there's the 5 steps. Step A is 128,691. Step B is the
No, I get
136,
that.
okay,
But in your analysis,
yes,
you must have a figure in mind, right? You don't have a
Step C.
range.
we,
C.
yes,
Mid-range.
we're looking at mid-range.
Okay. And then, same with recreation coordinator, what range is that?
75 to 91.
No, what you're
Also,
recommending,
mid-range.
mid-range C.
All of them are mid-range.
Oh, they're all mid-range,
they're all
okay,
budgeted.
well, that
at mid.
helps, thank
Yeah.
you. And then, of course,
So-
those
so
who
the
are
rec-
not budgeted.
So the
so-
rec coordinator is 75 to 91 on the range. So that's like 5/70, like 8%, 7% higher than the administrative assistant. On the ranges, both ends, but that one requires a 4-year degree plus like 2 to 3 years work experience. You see how like that was there's not very much of a gap between them. That's why I think I'm still on the administrative. assistant.
Yeah,
I get it.
Uh,
I understand.
So anyways,
Okay.
that's just commentary.
okay, and then you're saying that we budgeted, moving on to recreation leader, which I think we used to call facilities attendant,
Yes.
right, as the hourly position.
Mhm.
And you're saying it was budgeted already?
It was budgeted.
At an
correct.
hourly rate or?
At an hourly rate, yes.
Okay, which was, do we know offhand?
It was roughly 40,000 that we budgeted
Okay, and-
annually,
again, this person will report to the coordinator
yes.
and not to city clerk. Okay, that was my other
And-
question.
It's important to remember with the part-time rec leader position, those costs will be passed on to the user. So that'll be part of the master fee update to pay for staff to open, close, do all of those things.
Okay,
So it's not just a full hit to the GF.
and are we updating master fees again?
We will, yes.
Yeah, we will, okay. 'Cause I
My
know we
recommendation is
talked
to
about-
do it all during the budget process, so that annually during the budget, we're doing master fee, we're doing everything at one time,
Okay.
so it's,
Cause the master fees now are 1 year, and in
Mhm.
effect for 1 year, so we're not gonna do it again until next year.
Till fiscal year
I
25.
think Chris is suggesting that we do it in the June 2025 timeframe
Mhm.
to be
Yeah, that's what I-
effective.
correct.
I said
Mhm.
next
Yeah,
year,
to be
yeah,
effective like
so, okay.
whatever month. Takes
Okay.
like 3 months.
And then, recreation leader, I think that was my only other question. And then maybe you can walk us through, we're reallocating community development director and assistant planner,
Mhm.
which we also budgeted for. Oh, I know that I did have one other question too. Before we, Jeff may have some questions, and then I know I have some questions on the org chart. The 150,000 that you had budgeted for consultants, does that include much more or temporary services, say for Lauren? Bouchane, I think, is doing some HR and 4-leaf, that seemed low, actually.
No, that's
That was
for
just
for Lee
for
and Lauren.
Lauren.
And not much
Not
more.
much
Not
more.
much more.
Okay, but much more. We have spent money
We have,
since,
mhm.
yeah. So
Approximately
should that
50,000.
150 be higher? That was my. Cause you have that in
Sure,
your
I can
table also, okay.
edit
We
that.
can update that.
And I don't know if you want Bouchane in there also. You said it included 4-leaf
Yes,
and I'm sorry, I don't even know the temp company that Lauren works through.
Roth,
Roth Staffing,
Mhm.
okay, that's Roth. Okay, Jeff, do you have?
Yeah, for, as we go forward with, because this is, we're targeting within the second meeting in November, I think it's the 19th.
Mhm.
Correct.
So what would really help, I think, is if as part of the presentation, you do like a before after view of a few things. One is at the approved budget, the number of FTEs and the org chart. Before, so that's the current status quo,
Mhm.
with a proposal that is consistent with what you're suggesting
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
So you can see the before after, because I think
Yeah.
there are several moving parts, and then there's some puts and takes both ways. And it becomes a little bit easier to follow for the
Okay.
sake of discussion. I think that'd be better. I would also recommend, we don't have this yet, but I would also recommend a before after on the org chart. That's a functional org chart. So have you seen these before? So like essentially like, what are the key duties here, and you lay them out,
Mhm.
because really the block of duties that we're talking about aren't really changing. We still have to do all the same stuff.
Correct.
So it's a question of like, where is it now and where is it going to be? There could be new duties added, right? That's
Mhm.
possible, and there could be some taken away. But the functional org chart, I think, will really help show the movement. So that'd be my recommendation
Okay.
on that. And then, so all of this is before after these, right?
Mhm.
I would also recommend presenting a cost associated with that same thing. So you have like,
Yeah.
you have FTEs, org, functional org, and cost beforehand, after. So that like, if you're looking at it, you could just see like, here's what we have and here's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I think that'll present a much more clearer picture
Okay.
of what it is. On the table, on the agenda, which is page 11 of the 37-page document. I think there's a formula error on the bottom half. Somewhere, it's not really comparing correctly, so it's just an administrative thing. And then. Yeah, and a lot of the functional stuff, I mean, it's not like super detailed, but you could pull a lot of it from the job descriptions, I think.
That's the hard part too, is job descriptions are very vanilla and generic
Yeah,
versus what
yes,
someone's actually doing here.
that's more important.
Yeah.
Okay. I have the same concerns over the comparables and like how we're getting to that. I think it bears like a second look to see like. And the titling also, like a rec leader seems really cool. I mean, it is cool, but we're not really, it's not a leadership position,
At all.
right?
So
So
now.
I don't wanna,
Hourly position.
I don't wanna give the wrong impression. I know. And then like,
Coordinator, yeah,
coordinator-
that's a more
These are
important
very
position,
standard
yeah.
yeah.
titles in every agency, and I mean, this is kind of my bread and butter. This is me.
This is your wheelhouse.
It is, and coordinator is the appropriate title.
I was a rec
in that
coordinator when, as a part-time job over the summer,
Look at you.
I coached kids roller hockey teams and summer camps. So I was a summer camp leader and a rec coordinator. I got paid a very low amount.
Not very much, yes.
It was a very low amount. It was in the summer.
Well, but the coordinator is the salaried position and the leader is the hourly.
Yeah, we
That's what
flipped
I
a
said,
little
it
bit.
So
sounds,
rec leader is in every agency, it's either a rec leader or a rec specialist, or is the part-time.
or attendant,
position.
I've seen it,
We don't want to have a
I know.
facilities attendant.
I didn't say facilities.
Okay.
And then your
I said
entry,
attendant.
lowest level, full-time is a recreation coordinator.
Right,
Then it's a supervisor, recreation manager, director.
right,
So those, that is what
Yeah.
I'm familiar with as
Yes.
well. So whatever. It's
Okay.
It's not typically like a very, I'm just not gonna say anything about that.
so the other thing I just wanna discuss before we get into the org chart too, is basically. At these salary levels, adding these new positions, some of which have money budgeted, some of which don't. We're taking out the community development director and the assistant planner. You're saying. I know you've got to maybe do some updating on the consulting costs, but that it's a hit of about $59,000 to this year's budget,
That's favorable.
right?
So, right,
And-
am I
Yes.
reading it right?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to have the. Sorry,
No,
on the tables,
Yeah.
it's always better to present. It's always better to present like your legend is credits favorable or unfavorable,
Mhm.
because when you view it, negatives usually look bad. So if you're gonna say negatives are good, that's fine, but just put like favorable in parentheses.
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
it'll-
It's
Okay.
just savings.
It
It
does
says
say
savings, it does say savings, it says total net salary savings, but then next year, we're looking at 127,000,
Correct.
because this is a partial. All right,
But that sign is different.
yeah, it
So
is,
I think there's some point.
to be
The signs are off
consistent,
there.
yeah. To be
And it
consistent.
actually should be 0. So, just saying.
Well, and the 59,000 isn't really the savings though, right?
No,
That is, it's not savings, we're not saving 59,000. We're adding 59,000, right? After all is said and done,
No, it won't.
we're saving 59,000.
it
Yes.
just needs to be clear.
Leaving, adding all these positions
Correct.
and taking these two
Just
away.
because you're only paying for,
We're adding lower paid and getting rid of higher paid.
Yes,
and you're only paying
only-
for a few
6
months,
months.
right?
Right.
This is
Right.
assuming we hired somebody January 1.
And that's
not
the other thing I was gonna say, effective.
happening.
This is based on an effective start date of what, January 1st?
January.
Correct.
So yeah, so like having the assumption and then the legend will be helpful for people viewing, I think. I would say that blanketly for all tables.
And then the last thing I just wanted to talk about was the org chart. And I'm gonna put my glasses on, so I'm obviously not, the print is small. So Regina, your title is actually Assistant City Manager, Administrative Services Director,
Correct.
right? That's what
Mhm.
we approved in June.
Yes,
So I would just recommend
okay.
updating that. We've already talked about the rec coordinator and leader. So one question I did have is code enforcement officer, who is right now a temp, may still be a temp,
Mhm.
is going to report to a potential permanent employee. There's no conflict there, right?
No.
Okay,
You get conflict the other way around.
the other way, right.
If you have someone reporting to a temp,
No, yeah, if you have a contract employee supervising staff on a permanent basis,
can't do it,
that can be conflict.
no?
Mm-mm.
And
It's,
there's nuances too, so Larry, who's not here, who's not in the building ever, never sees maintenance, supervising maintenance and doing an evaluation on Jim and would not work.
Right.
That would be a huge difficulty because he's not on site. You
Is it
can't
the fact that he's contractor or the fact that he's not on site?
both.
But you could have a contractor,
You can, but
for example, let me case in point,
an interim
interim
police chief,
city manager
yes,
is supervising.
correct. So you would get an argument that there could be some PERS implications of a non-permanent, and I'm saying on a permanent basis, not an
Okay,
interim.
but that's not a supervisory
Yeah.
conflict, that's a PERS conflict.
Yeah, so that's a different conflict,
Different.
yes. Right,
Okay,
because now you're implying that that contractual employee isn't really contractual employee, it's a city
yeah, but
employee.
I mean, I understand the PERS
Yeah.
position, which,
so it's kind of a
That's a
multi,
separate issue.
but that's not,
Right.
that's not what, I thought that's not what you were talking about. I thought you were talking about you can't have full-time employees reporting to contract positions.
I think legally you might be able to.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But for me operationally, I see numerous
Sure,
issues with that.
it could be undesirable,
There you go.
but allowable.
Le-
Okay, and then the last thing
Not
I,
best practice.
yeah.
There's no best practice, that's made up.
So just again, so the org chart is correct, the description is wrong about rec leader and rec coordinator reporting to the senior management analyst. And you know what, I
Wait,
can't read
where are they gonna report?
to see, well, in the description, it said the rec leader would report to the city clerk. But quick question, and I don't remember this, and I'd have to go back. In the senior management analyst, that is a supervisory position as well then, right? They would know that they're supervising two people, is that in the job description?
It-
I didn't remember that, and that they would be doing performance reviews and right? So that, we might want to just think about that, right? Because now they're gonna have two people reporting to them.
One,
No, rec coordinator. Rec coordinator and leader.
direct leader reports to the coordinator.
Okay, so then we
That's
need to
direct
fix that,
supervision, yeah, that's
Okay,
direct
then we need to-
supervision.
fix that. And I don't know if we have in the rec coordinator that they will have one direct report also, right?
So
Okay,
I have a.
go
um,
ahead, and then I just have one more.
It's really odd to have such a narrow span of control where you essentially have one leader person in a management position supervising one person. I don't think that's a good idea generally. One, it's more expensive. And you typically, in a leadership position, you'd have at least a few direct reports. Because if you just have one to one to one, you've created like this vertical that I think is just less overall efficient. So I don't know if that's how we're actually trying to structure it. Because like you said,
It
one of
seems
them-
awkward,
yeah, so one of them, I think one of the positions was said to go to the administrative assistant, or sorry, to the city clerk.
right? It
And
was the leader.
yeah, like. I don't know if you want that hierarchical rather than having it more
Well, that's
flat.
same with our city clerk, has an
Yes.
administrative assistant reporting directly.
Yeah. Like, so for your position, Regina. Like you would have the accountant, senior management analyst, and then the analyst would have one person, and that person would have one person. Like,
Mhm,
I would say it should be flat, and you have 4 people,
mhm.
and then those people don't need to be leadership positions, and you can pay them less. Like our idea when we
Mhm.
conceived of some of these roles, the council as a whole, I mean,
Yes,
us, with us, of course, but when we discussed this. One of the goals was to have a flatter org so that you could pay higher at the top level, you guys.
mhm,
And then pay less at the staff level who are actually just doing a lot of work. So we rely heavily on the leadership positions, pay closer to market, get like stronger candidates. And then have them supervise multiple
Mhm.
people so that you're really using them as arms and legs. That was like the intent of what we're trying to do. If that doesn't work, that's fine. But like one to one to one to me is
it seems awkward.
it's just less efficient. Like I've been in organizations that do that and all over the place and it's weird to have one. It's just weird to have one to one to one. It's like I manage you manage them. I don't manage. I mean, why wouldn't I just manage both of them? You know. So that'd be my comment.
And it's something that is a challenge here because it is so small.
It is,
Right,
but
sure.
it's so small. But then you have all these
Yeah.
managers. The fact that it is so
Right.
small makes it more efficient to have less layers, less management layers, right? Because then each person has to kind of not rigidly, but they will observe the chain of command, and then you'll have all these
Mhm.
hops and all this stuff. Versus if you flatten the org,
Mhm.
then you are the one that has the vision for everyone. And then you're directing traffic
Right.
versus you're directing them to direct them, and then it becomes less than direct. And
Right.
I think it's more efficient. So, I don't know, I would just consider that as you're thinking about this.
Well, when you said the senior management analyst is kind of like the Swiss Army knife and like a floater kind of, I don't see that person as a manager in my mind. So I
Me too,
think, I think
that's a
that
doer.
that's a doer. The other question I had on the org chart, just so I understand, in the police department, administrative clerk reports to police office coordinator, so is that Gabby reporting
reports
to Sandy?
Sandy?
She
Yeah.
does?
Mhm.
She doesn't report, they don't both report to the chief? Okay. But
Again,
they
I would
both
say the same thing.
yeah,
Same
it
thing
seems
for that.
weird. Because to me, they seem supportive of the police chief, but my next question is, they both report to the admin sergeant?
Mhm,
Who is that, Shaw?
mhm.
Okay,
So then.
so
keeping on-
Gabby reports to Sandy and Sandy reports to Shaw.
Mhm.
Yes,
I always thought Sandy and Gabby reported to the chief directly. Not to a sergeant, but.
I like flatter orgs.
And again, I will say that's typical, and correct me if I'm wrong, in a police agency where unless it's the executive assistant to the chief, reports to the chief, other administrative, whether it's evidence, whether it's text up front, report to the admin sergeant, commander, lieutenant, captain, pick your title.
I think that's fine,
Yeah.
although Gabby to Sandy is weird.
Yeah.
The
So,
administrative sergeant is there. I
Yeah.
was one,
so
for
I mean,
20
yeah,
years.
that's fine.
and they report to the chief. It's so small.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what they're doing.
And then, like, is this accurate to say that one police officer reports to a day sergeant, one police officer reports to the night sergeant? Is that
And
person
two.
the one who does their evals?
I would assume so.
One, it's like a one-to-one
Mhm.
relationship.
1-to-1.
Like a Jedi Padawan kind of thing. Okay,
It's always been okay.
Kind of the first time I've seen it this way. Okay.
yeah, it's never been presented this way, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, I think I don't have any other questions on this. I just have a few questions before we wrap up. Do you have any other questions and?
Well, I think
I would, so
Okay.
I would
public
say,
comment?
I would like to get a look prior to our November 19 meeting, after you incorporate some of the things that we talked about.
Mhm,
I don't wanna see it again for the first time at our November 19th meeting, like,
mhm.
I don't know how you feel about that.
I agree.
We have 2 weeks, I guess, so it's not that much time, but if possible, that would. That's not a directive, but it is just a request.
Mhm.
Would you like to have another special meeting?
I can just look at it and we can talk
Okay.
about it.
That works too.
And then so. Questions from the audience?
Yes.
Oh,
Comments from the
I have
audience?
a few. First of all, POA did not pick those cities. Brett picked them.
No, I didn't say the POA did. I said when the
City
POA,
picked- The city picked the cities.
So what happened is Brett, as
That's
the city manager, picked the cities to promote Jim Warburton to superintendent. He picked those cities. And the POA's been trying for 20 years that I know of to pick other cities like this, and it was always refused. And then for, let's see what else. So he picked those cities. Recreation. I have a problem with that word, because in campaigning, people want the city to run efficiently. If you use the word recreation, it means you're having volleyball games and basketball games, and that's not in Clayton. I don't know what other word could be used, but I do agree about to make sure that the doors are open, the parks are clean, because I've been hearing the same thing from one Pride Parade. Now, when they rented that park, all the trash cans were full. We should have a form that makes sure it checks that off, that those things are empty when we're renting them. We're renting them to people, they have to pay money. They should be clean. And if it's a 2-day event, it should be clean both days. So that's another thing on that. I don't, maybe there's a better word for that. You talked about the city engineer and doesn't oversee the superintendent. Don't we pay him $3,000 a month to do that?
It's for it's also for the climate tech work that he's doing
Oh.
as well,
All right.
and it's more
And
for the
library
climate tech,
refresh.
yeah.
Right. And
But if he's
So the
not doing
budget-
that anymore, that should,
Mhm.
yeah.
so the budget that you worked on when you first came,
Mhm.
you were using the previous budget.
Yes, we use that as somewhat of a starting point.
And some of that budget, I'll say, was not approved by the city council, they just put money in there. And one example I'll give you is $20,000 for a lieutenant's position, that was not approved by the city council. Was not approved.
We
In
did,
fact,
we did not use that lieutenant position in this budget,
I know you didn't, but you took it out,
yes.
okay, that's
Been
news
out.
to me.
Mhm.
Okay,
It's
that's
been out.
glad that you took it out.
Mhm.
And, because there's a lot of distrust with the city manager and Amy's position, the assistant, because they lied. They lied that they had no more money and they did. So that's gonna be a contention next time for being trusted when they do negotiations. The other thing is, I heard you say for the November meeting, I would ask the committee, and I'll ask the council, the meeting to postpone that until the new council is seated. Because it's not fair to the new council to be saddled with something they might not agree on. And I would like time, if I can, council members, to go all through this again. That's just me. What's the rush? Why can't it wait till 2 weeks after that? That's what I'm saying. That's my comments.
I have another comment.
Yes, Ann.
My chief problem with the city of Clayton is access. Okay? Who in the personnel in Clayton manages access? Access to parks, access to sidewalks, access to streets, access to buildings. We want to have access for all, as is legally mandated at the federal level. There's no excuse for Clayton to keep, I can't get into Westwood Park. Because it's the curves are too tall. The people who try to get into
It's a non-agenda item, and so we've passed that point in the agenda already.
okay, okay.
We gave an opportunity earlier, but be sure to come to our next council meeting. I'll bring that up.
I'm
We haven't seen you in a while. Come to the meeting.
No, that's because I've been so sick.
I'm sorry to hear that. And Frank?
So. A lot of points that were brought up here on the presentation of stuff, and I think this came up, when we had our meeting, fiscal committee. The political climate is very heated in the city. There are folks who will take things and, like you said, what's the hit we're going to take to the budget? And right away, I'm thinking there's somebody out there who's gonna take that, and then as Councilmember Juan pointed out, that, make sure it's clear that we are saving money. Because if that's somebody out there, so right now is saying that the budget now is, that the deficit, the quote deficit, which we discussed last time, is 3, 4, 5 times. As I brought up last time, the idea that the city is broke when we have 14, 15 million, right? So not to, to add more burden to you guys, but presentation is everything. And that it's clear what we're trying to do. I think that's what Councilmember Juan was, and then to add to what, hopefully candidate and Councilmember-elect, the distrust factor, I wouldn't go as far as that and, start using language about who lied and that, but there was something that took place earlier this year. I don't see that now, by the way, where, it created distrust. From a lot of people's point of view, and presentation has all to do with it. You guys have limited staff, but how you present everything is, how it's interpreted by the public is a huge factor. And, more information is always better, but that it's clear what that information is. I went through this thing and I saw it. I'm a finance guy. And I saw, okay, I see a savings here. I'm gonna want a little more clarification, but like Councilman, Vice Mayor Cipriano says, you see the parentheses. Perfect example, I have clients that they get their statements. I see minus, minus, minus. Yes, you took $50,000 out of your account. That's a minus. Your account should go down by $50,000. I've had clients with a lot of money tell me my account goes down when I take out money. Yes, it does. Okay, so presentation is everything, and we want to dial down what's going on in the city right now. Sure. So more of a burden for you guys, but definitely what Councilmember Juan is asking for, keep that in mind. Yeah. So that we can, because there's a lot of work to do.
Thank you. Dan?
Ma'am,
Yes.
thank you all for the opportunity to come and listen today. For you, I'm Dan Richardson, currently on the Planning Commission. A retired Park and Public Works Director for the city of Walnut Creek. I spent a career doing this. Couple of comments. Very good comments you made, Jeff. The ones about the cities and stuff, and we would do cities, and it was always a challenge picking what are the cities. Once you got past the cities, where we really went, the agencies I worked for, and I think you worked for Citizen City, and I worked there for a while too. Is that usually we found ourselves either you decide on what where you want it to be. Top of the bottom third, bottom of the second third, very seldom ever in the top third. So depending upon the agencies, you would pick ones that have like work, like things that do, not someone like Dublin, clearly, because that's apples and oranges between us. But a city like this size typically would find itself at the top of the bottom third. So whatever those cities are, you're working towards. And that was something that staff knew and that most people knew. And there are exceptions to that occasionally. The second thing I would say is that as I listen here, you're creating a bureaucracy. That's what you've done. You come in here, you've both been here a short and reasonable amount of time, and you're creating a bureaucracy to support you at the top. Got to have this, got to have that, got to have recreation people, got to have things like that. That's difficult, I think, going forward with a lot of different places, because you're taking your pyramid and you're turning it upside down. You put it back on the other side, and it's the worker bees that are out there doing stuff. And those are the people that make a difference. You have a landscape assessment district coming up in 2027 that's going to expire. I am an advocate of renewing it, clearly, because it does fund a lot of things. I chaired the last two efforts to renew it.
We have a role for you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. So I worked on that, and I've worked on a lot of different things like that. And people need something out there right now to see that it's getting done. I see a little bit of improvements here or there. I think when they created Amy, good, bad, or indifferent, there was a battle in the maintenance where there was constantly this maintenance worker 2 position was held over the staff like a carrot. Beat on them and hold it. You got to do this. Well, when Amy came in here and made them all maintenance worker 2s, it made a difference. Productivity picked up. You got better work out of the troops. Different things like that. Now, granted, those troops are working 410s, and I have a whole soapbox I can give you on 410s and the percentage of productivity over 40 hours in 4 days. Doesn't work. My opinion. And so I think those are important. I think it's key to do those things. I think it's key to not lose sight of the fact that it's the people driving up and down. We talk about we need a code enforcement officer, we need more consultants. Our definition of a consultant was someone that lived more than 100 miles away from you and wanted a lot of money to drive and visit you. That's what a consultant is. That's what we thought. Very lack of ownership. Some of you may have been standing out, holding up signs on the corner of Mitchell Canyon, North Mitchell Canyon, Clayton Road, where the traffic is going by 150 miles an hour. I drive my grandson every day. I walk my grandson up this corner every day, and I walk him back home.
Yeah.
There's a bus stop there. There's the old, that was a fire station there on the corner for some of the new folks. That was a fire station currently owned by Sino, I believe, still, with one of them. And the
Keep it to the
trees have
topic,
grown.
too. Dan.
The trees have grown.
We're
over
trying
the
to keep it
street.
to budget and audit.
Yeah, I know, but
I know.
I'm just, you're talking about budget
I know, we're
audit,
getting
and
a
I'm
little off
hoping these
topic.
kinds of things
3
to
minutes.
stay.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
3
don't-
minutes.
I'll wrap it up. I urge you not to lose sight of creating bureaucracy and lose sight of where the work really gets done. Thank you.
Yeah, the triangle is a good analogy,
Pyramid.
I would say. I like the regular triangle, so that's why I'm talking about like flatter. The flatter org is typically better, but you heard me say that already.
Sure.
I just, as a member of the community, I just want to see how you guys do with the meetings. That's all.
Well, good, thank you. Okay, so I think, with all that said, we're done with item number 4. I do have some things for item number 5, which I'll just go through quickly. So, and I think these are all related to our budget and audit committee. So correct me if I'm wrong. One thing is, we've talked here several times about our pending FEMA request. And I know that's maybe a little bit off topic, but can we get an update on
Yeah,
what?
update your weekly, it's going out
Okay,
today, tomorrow.
great, there we go. And HDL, I believe, is coming back with an
Yes.
update on business license
Mhm.
software. Are we also adding facilities rental software as well?
We are exploring right now.
Okay, great. And I just wanna, again, I've got other things, but I wanna keep it to this. Hold on one sec. Library refresh. Are we gonna have an update? I know we've talked about it here.
We're scheduling the working group.
The next
meeting.
working group, okay.
Well, rather than going,
Yeah.
I would just go through the list and then like we can,
I know, I think that's my last
Okay.
one. Yeah, that was my last one. I have some others that aren't related to budget and audit, which I can talk to Kristen and Gina
I
about.
believe Stephanie has an update for the library refresh
Okay,
in the
great.
weekly as well.
so I guess what I would request
Mhm.
is that in the weekly, if you could create like either a table or something that identifies all the significant open items that are working. And then for each week, we can see what the
Progress.
status or updates from the prior was done. For each of them, that way it'll help, because there's so many, it'll be easier to track. If you just have like a standing list.
I'll
And then
send
you
you the
could,
whole list.
and then you can kill them as they are complete, but
Mhm.
like things like biotech and HDL and sound or noise ordinance and surplus land.
I got that
and
too, yeah.
all the stuff
Loose
that is
ends.
working, that when you came in, there's like all the plates are spinning,
Yep, they're still spinning.
hard to keep track, right? And so I think it would be helpful for me at least, I don't know if anyone else, but it would be helpful for me if we had just a regular thing so that each week you can just see, here's what's happened,
Timeline.
right? When I do report outs for project work, I think they say like, I only report out in 2 weeks, but, I typically say what's been done over the prior 2 weeks and what is going to happen in the next 2 weeks. Every time, so then at the time I get the next meeting, I look and I say, what did I plan to do versus what I actually did, and then I can see it, so like. If you say what is upcoming in the next interval,
Mhm.
and then you look at when you get to that next interval, you can see what actually happened. I think that's a great, for me at least, that's a great way to track information. Be my recommendation. But you can think about how you wanna operationalize something.
Mhm. Okay, anything else for future topics? That's enough said. I think we're gonna adjourn at 5:17. Thank you. And I'll send you my list, because I'm not sure if it's all budget and audit. And some of it has come through here, hasn't, but. I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Lisa, if you
Thank
need
you,
some more
Ann.
details on how to do that,
good to see you.
we have in Princeton City, I talked to you about.